Alright, so I'm going to steal some geometry down below here to make up the teeth for later purposes. So what I'm going to do here is grab the skull, and I'm actually going to duplicate him over here. I need a copy. And the reason I did that is because I'm going to perform a little surgery here on him. Okay, now I couldn't scale this in any further, right, because of the fact that it just doesn't work like that. If I scale this, it's going to scale like this, it's going to scale like this, but it's never going to scale based upon the normal here. Um, a good way I found to get away with this is do the inset extrude on a copy of it. So in other words, I want something like this. And then I'm going to steal that geometry. So if I do Shift D, and I duplicate that, and I can extrude it, and there we go. Oops. Let's make sure it's extrude region. There we go. So now I have a piece that better matches the puzzle back here, and it's just a little bit more in. Now I could take and click L, mesh, vertices, separate. Oops. Mesh, vertices, separate by selection. Now I have this part, and I can use that over here. And it should fit rather nicely. Right in that area. Okay. Then I would just have to shrink it up just a little bit because it needs to. But let me get both teeth out of the way first. So I'm going to grab this bottom part, same as before. I'm just going to Shift D it to duplicate it, bring it over here to perform some surgery on it, and grab this face, this face, this face. This one's going to be, I could do this many a way because the fact that this goes back into the jaw a little bit further. But I'll do that on this piece. Extrude. Again, I'll just extrude region. Good. L, mesh, vertices, separate by selection. So now that's apart, and I can bring that back into play. Okay, then I'm going to get rid of this guy and this guy. Okay, just moving these back, performing that under this so I can get all of them. Could do a mirror modifier here, save myself a huge amount of headache, but yeah. So I'm just rerouting these. Because technically these get pushed back a little bit further. There. Now I have a sculpted, or what could be a nice area to sculpt. Now I put these into the gum line just a little bit more because of the fact that, you know, this is where you're going to have the seams and everything else. This is going to save you a huge amount of polygons because you're relying more on this area being sculpted. You can add the detail or resolution to the teeth without it affecting the jaw, and that's why I do this. One thing you have to know is, you know, if you are going to sculpt, you're going to have a lot more resolution than this. Okay, just moving these in just a little bit, matching those up. So I'm going to insert some edges. Now this will set it in between. If I just lightly click. And I'm going to put an edge loop here at the bottom, just like that. Same with this top part. I'm just putting some in-betweens here. I'll probably mirror this just to be safe. Okay, I'm just going to hide that, hide this. You can see how much resolution I have here and how much resolution I have here. This one I like to put that top part again, just like that. I'll probably end up removing that later on, but for right now it will help me when I go to sculpt. It'll just tighten up everything in that area so it doesn't shrink up. Sculpting is going to be, of course, another video altogether. This video is on the premise of making a skull with good topology, and then we get into sculpting it in a later video. Straightening those out. Good. I am going to mirror modify these, so take faces. This is just to make sure when I do go to sculpt, it has everything it needs to be mirrored correctly. In this case, it's just a little bit off on the center, so I'm going to pull these apart just a little bit and let it find its merge limit. There we go. Now I know it's mirrored perfect. In the case of the bottom, it looks really nice. Apply for that one. There we go. Oops. Put that back. Nice. Alright, so this concludes the skull. Hope you enjoyed. And we'll sculpt on it in a later video, but for right now, that's how you build somewhat of a pseudo good topology on a skull. And you know, you can test all this out again by adding a smooth modifier to everything. Here's what you could do: duplicate the entire thing over here, and then object join it, and that way over here you can add the modifier across several of it. You can set back the eyes a little further, you know, as far as, you know, taking these and you can extrude them back once. That might help. But these little nitpick things, these are going to be part, you know, of the process of saying, well, you know, maybe I can add just a little bit more to it other than what the instructor did. So that's why I kind of leave it to the student at this point. But don't add too much topology to it other than this, because really it's just going to get in your way. You have to have a nice low and a nice high. In this case, you know, my lowest low kind of has a good representation of a skull. I wouldn't need much more than this on a low. Okay, now you can see those eyes set back. Looks a lot better. Then we'll have to fix certain things like right here. Alright, so let's move on to the next video.